Good morning, all.
Good
Welcome to
morning. Good
FYI.
morning. Good
For
morning.
your information, I am Director Finance alongside Sharon Duncan this morning. It is Monday, the 13th of June,
Yeah,
2022.
yeah, yeah,
Closer,
yeah, yeah,
closer, closer to my birthday.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We,
I'm
we
like
coming
those little
down.
kids.
We
So
coming down.
we
Birthday
are,
cake can be right here. Candles.
we're going to do that.
Gotta do what we gotta do.
I'm not
I,
sure.
you got me thinking blowing up. I thinking about blowing up this candle whole month. So I know how you come
But,
around. We funny,
but yours is just
right?
there too.
We probably will see John too. Live on the set,
No, he has
chanting,
enough publicity as it is. That's
chanting.
good
So
enough for him. Leave him alone.
other
So,
family members and so on. Guys, let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. Good morning, Lloyd McAllister. You're lovely people too. And Kurt Anthony Phillips. I know the glare
yes, I don't
got
know
me a little
what's
bit this
up with the
morning.
glare this
Yep, yep,
morning.
yep.
It's old age creeping into us or something.
Maybe,
Our eyes not good. We have to
maybe.
go. Oh my goodness.
All the above.
Tommy Gibbs, good morning to you. How are you this morning?
Tommy,
And Beatrice
Tommy,
Selby, I see you. Paulette Hicks and Marlon
Tommy.
Thomas. I see Wilson France. Hey guys, she's asking is who birthday. Both of us are
Yes,
June.
George's birthday comes up on
Both of us are June. I'm the 23rd, Sher's the 30th. I'm just
7 days
putting it out
later.
there, right?
1 week later.
Ricardo says loud and clear. He's hearing loud and clear.
Good. We're
Sharon
happy about that. We're
Albert
happy about
is
that.
here. Jadish, I see you there.
Yeah.
Ganesh
Anis.
Maipal is here.
Yeah, Ganesh
Well,
running from we, You're running from we, but let me see how long.
Ganesh is here in the house.
Let me see how long Ganesh is gonna
It's
run from
West
us.
Side people,
West Side.
West Side people.
Yeah,
There's something
yeah,
about
yeah.
these West Side people.
Yeah, but I know Arvin Danko won't run for me like that. So Ganesh, like he's an anomaly. Linda Thomas is here as well, guys. We missed you all over the weekend. We were too tired over the weekend to do anything. Honest to God, just
oh
too
my
tired.
goodness.
I had a full weekend, as you guys would have may or may not have known. But we had a full weekend. Good to see Alex Boom. Thanks, Alex. And Linda Thomas. Thanks, Linda. I don't want to do this all morning, so thanks everybody. Did I see Valderine?
I'm not
Valderine
sure.
Hackett. Good morning, Valderine. Miss Hackett. I feel like I'm calling you full mode here. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I want to get into the congratulations
All
too.
right, go ahead.
So, I have to say, as you guys know, we've been talking about the Alliance
Yep.
for Change elections.
Yep.
That was on Saturday the 11th, and as expected, and I'm very very proud to be a part of the Alliance for Change
Yes.
and the democracy that
Yes.
prevailed at that level. And
Yes.
it was quite inspiring to say the
Yeah.
least, and to see everything unfold as it was.
Very
and
energetic.
the results are in.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
people have spoken, and we have to say a special congratulations to Mr. Kemraj Ramjatan
Yeah.
on being re-elected as leader of the Alliance for Change.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He secured that place. The votes were all in his favor. So Mr. Ramjatan, a lot of work he has done thus far, from being a founding member of the Alliance for Change, and a lot of work to be continued as we continue to strengthen the coalition, so that we will make sure that we are back in office, so that we can represent you wonderful people out there that's depending so much on the coalition to succeed. Also, special congratulations are extended to Cathy Hughes on her being elected as chairman of the Alliance for Change. Miss Cathy Hughes was the former vice chairman of the Alliance for Change.
Step up, Cathy. Step up.
Being elected the chairman of the Alliance for Change. So special congratulations to Mrs. Hughes there, and also to Mr. Ricky Ramsrup. Ricky Ramsrup, one of the persons there brand new on the slate amongst the four leadership, being elected as a vice chairman. Ricky has been doing a phenomenal set of work. He has been on the ground. Anyone that knows him, and he's one of the rising stars within the party. So I'm very, very proud of him. And also, my best part, my favorite part, I'm biased. Like, you can just stamp bias on me. I don't care.
Here's Serena.
When it comes to the elections altogether, I am so very proud of my colleague here, Mrs. Sharon Duncan, being elected as the General Secretary of the Alliance for Change. Sharon Duncan had a very magnificent win, and the margin was not even close.
We had a good day.
But he would.
We had a
It
good day.
was
We had a good day.
it was quite amazing
Yeah.
and interesting
Yeah.
to look at the liberal democracy in the Alliance for Change play out, and I was reminded right there and then why I'm so proud to be a part of that political organization. So that is about it, guys. That
No,
is
it's
the
not about it.
update. What
Actually, Drita ran for chair
I did.
as well and did a fantastic job. Put on a fantastic electoral performance, and Kathy just edged past by 13 votes. Believe it or not, just 13 votes, and
Listen.
for a newcomer herself, for to that challenge,
Mhm.
really put on a good performance with just 13 votes shy of coming in.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that is true, and I'm particularly like I've just said, I'm particularly proud to see the liberal democracy play out because it shows the people and the people power within the party. So that was quite amazing. I was so very thankful for all the persons that actually came out and supported. I think there was a margin of 46% to 50. 46% to 54%. So very, very thankful. And I am still here. And
Still standing.
I am new in this, so I'm going to be in it for a little while. So absolutely
Fantastic performance.
amazing process
Yeah,
altogether.
yeah.
I'm also very grateful.
We are getting through to some of the other pages. Allow us to see again for those persons who are now joining us. Welcome to FYI, and we trust that you guys have had a fantastic weekend. And as Rita was
Yes.
saying, thanks to all those persons who came out on Saturday. The Alliance for Change delegates, we had over 200
Yeah.
delegates assembling at the
Well,
wonderful
over
church.
100 there, and then the others joining online.
Correct,
Yes,
correct, correct.
because it was done in that system because of all guys. When COVID hit us, everybody learned to utilize the dynamics of technology, and that was very helpful in this process altogether. So many technological platforms being integrated to make sure that everything was secure and that the conference was a success.
Yeah, yeah. And again, we're really thankful. And thank you for all your well wishes. And we're thankful for all of those persons who came out in the various satellite areas, plus where the main activity was happening in William Street, Kitty. The church name is slipping me, but we want to thank
Yes,
all of those
revealed,
persons,
yes.
right? Who came out, and we had a really good day, a really good day.
It was a phenomenal
A really
day.
good
You know,
day.
one of the best ever. If I dare say,
Yeah, yeah.
one of the best ever, because when politicians are grouped together,
Yeah.
everybody. But it was so amazing, and I felt the strength of the Alliance for Change at that point in time, and everyone coming out of it stronger and saying, "Well, this is a team, and this is how we're going to work, and we're going to move forward
Yeah,
like that."
and you know what? Allow us to say thanks to the service, thanks for his service, David Patterson,
Yes.
the past General Secretary,
Mhm.
and all of those persons who would have served in party leadership and who are now making way for the other folks who were so elected on Saturday. Thanks to all of them for their service to our party. Okay.
Yes, phenomenal work. I mean, I've always said it. They had laid the foundation and the groundwork for the party for what it is today.
Yeah.
So we would not have been there, you and I both, if they had not been there from the inception.
Correct,
Doing
correct.
the work. So immensely grateful for all the work that they have done. And I have to say, there were 12 national executive members elected as well. So congratulations to all of those persons. One of our colleagues, Mr. Devin Sears, being among that setting, and so very good for everyone that has been elected to serve on the national executive. So a lot of work ahead of us, and we thank you all for your tremendous support. And the major decision coming out of that conference, besides the election of office holder, was what we were discussing prior. We did a poll a couple of times. The poll was done here, and the poll was also done in the evening show in the Ring, asking whether or not the Alliance for Change should leave the coalition or if it should stay. Well, I'm happy to report that better sense prevailed, and there was a resounding call for the Alliance for Change.
Overwhelmingly, similar to the poll, because overwhelmingly,
Yes.
78% of the persons we polled,
Correct.
both times, said we should stay in the coalition.
But it was actually a very acute reflection of the decision that was made.
Correct.
Even at the conference, when you look at the dimension and that percentage. So the vast majority of persons, and if I can make an assessment, I will say that over 70-something% of persons said this is what should be done. Tweeting here and there, negotiations to be had as we move forward, but to move forward as a collective team, because we all have the agenda of representation for the Guyanese people in our focus there.
Correct is right. Correct is right.
Yes.
We turn to the morning papers. What do we have? Trust you guys have had a good weekend. How was the weekend? A lot of rain over the weekend.
Mhm.
I got in some exercise yesterday in the
What
national
did you
park.
do?
I put in some laps around the
Did
national
you
park.
walk or run?
Both. I ran a little bit, walked a little bit. It was just, I think, really, really good weather.
Okay.
I caught it just about 4:30, 5 o'clock. The sun was going down. You know, and I had quite a
Mhm.
few people out in the park, picnicking, exercising, like me.
Mm.
Just taking in some of the greenery and so
I
on.
like I
It's a
like
good
that.
afternoon
I
to be
like
outside. Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like the
Yeah, it's a
national
good
park and
afternoon to be
all that.
outside. Good afternoon. So we trust that you guys have had a good weekend too. And, if you didn't, hope that the week is far better.
That is correct. I'm seeing the comments. I'm seeing you there, Alex Boom, and I'm seeing Charlene James,
Yep,
Raymond,
yep.
Ramper said, I'm so happy that all of you guys take the time out to join us every single morning as we share credible information with you. All the research that is done. You have no idea. I think Sharon was probably up since 4 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, we gotta do what we
Putting
gotta do.
together
Gotta do what we
the
gotta do.
information.
Yeah, but good to have you guys here nonetheless.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the things that are making the headlines and some of the things that you should know about. Again, really trust that you guys have had a fantastic weekend. Pull up a cup of something with us, a cup of tea, black or however you like to have your tea, some porridge maybe. Some of you guys probably had tea earlier, because we got some very, very early risers like us. Pull up a chair, and we're so happy that you guys are around the breakfast table with us this morning. It's our privilege. It's our privilege to have you guys. Whether you're already at work, you're still at home. We know some persons turn on the television, your smart TVs, and you listen to us while you go about your chores. We're so grateful, whatever form we come into your homes, into your workplace, or wherever you are at. We're so grateful for that. Believe it or not, I so love the 5G technology, for instance, in North America. People stream without all the buffering and so on that we encounter here in real time. So they're in the taxi, they're on the train, they're moving around, but they have us on their smartphones watching us.
That is correct.
Listening to us.
And we see those comments coming in all the time from persons that will be on our way to work and all of
Yeah.
that.
Natalia says, a cup of Earl Grey, please. Is Earl Grey a kind? What is Earl Grey?
I'm not sure.
I'm thinking it's.
But
is it
I'm still
Chiba?
stuck on
Yeah.
the fact that Edward Gonzalez had a word. He said from the Bronx, congratulations.
Oh yes, oh yes. Thanks, Edward. Mala
So
Pandey
Edward
from
is there.
Carmichael Street. Morning, Mala. Good to see you. Great to see you. Yep. Ganesh says.
Ganesh said he campaigned for us. It's too bad, Ganesh. I don't know how
Yeah.
Ganesh campaigned, but Ganesh is not
Yeah.
even a part.
Yeah,
of
I
the
saw
AFC.
Ganesh in a comment on WhatsApp. Somebody was saying in one of the social media groups,
Mhm.
congrats to AFC people who elected Ganesh. Says thank you. Ganesh different, different. Well, good morning, Ganesh, and all the people there in Region 3.
People still have a little bit of confusion with the
Yeah.
members of parliament
Yeah.
and which political party they come from, because I know when the AFC election was near and somebody put Ganesh on, they think Ganesh should run for opposition. So they had to be corrected and say Ganesh is not a member of the AFC. But it made me remember when the PNC was having their election, I was nominated for a position online.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Online.
You're
So-
switching.
So
Yeah.
we love each and every one of
But
you.
it's happy
it
that
just
we
goes
work
to
so good
show,
together.
yes.
People can't make a rigid distinction, Besides the fact that we probably are better looking, besides the fact we probably better looking, Other than that, what can we say? But we got a couple of things in the morning people want to share with you guys.
Yes,
Rita,
we have.
take it away.
We have a lot more so as we're looking at the brew this morning,
Mhm.
Mr. Duncan.
Mhm.
As we're looking at the brew this morning and what is in there, and I want to.
But before we head here, one of the things in the morning people I saw, I think was at the front of Starbucks News. It was, is this GPL pole that fell in a car in Rob Street? And one wonders if as part of the maintenance, they would go around and check these poles, to see whether how they're aging and that kind of stuff. Because that could be, I don't know, I didn't get the full story, but whether there were people in that vehicle, thankfully not. If they weren't. But that could have caused serious injury to somebody. So I wonder if it's as part of.
No one goes around check the poles. Listen, I have had situations more than once in which I personally went into GPL to report that they need to go and change polls in certain locations. And then a couple months have passed, and I had to go in and actually strong arm the process just to get the poll changed when the entire bottom of it was just basically eat out. I don't know if it termites or whatever. But it's quite interesting to see the length of time they took to even respond. I don't even think they would have responded if I didn't go back and try to force them. Like, you have to go change this.
You bully them.
I don't understand. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So Cyber News is reporting on that issue.
Yeah.
That the post was planted in the compound of Republic Bank. It fell. Nobody was injured, but they say traffic and electricity to that area was disrupted for a little bit. But thankfully, again, nobody was injured. But we would have thought that people go around, they have a crew and check these polls on a consistent basis to see how they're aging, that kind of thing. Because sometimes invariably people even light fires, burning refuse close to these polls, and there's all kinds of things happen. Yeah. But thankfully, on Sunday when this poll fell in Robb Street, no one was injured. Thankfully.
Well, I do know that in the Guyana Chronicle, one of the things that they're headlining is that the fact that Ali went to LA and he was telling the diaspora there that their country needs them more than ever right now. They should return home. But if they're to actually back up, in a lot of reportings, persons actually came back home with that after that call are finding it extremely difficult to do business because they've been shut out at every level because they don't know somebody here, know somebody there. And that is a major criticism that has been pushed out so far. And I find it interesting that all of this is, a lot of what we have to discuss later on in the program today, I'm going to tie it back into the fact that this was announced. This was being asked. The diaspora is being asked to come back home because some major announcements being made as it entails work that is being done within Guyana that is utilizing the expertise of persons outside of Guyana. So I'm going to get to that. I'm going to tie it in a whole lot when it comes to representation and the way in which resources are being dispersed and who are the actual beneficiaries of those resources.
I think the only draw, think about remigrating, is the fact that if you're a retiree and you have a savings, you want to make the best use of that. And so it will be cheaper to live here than to live in the States. If you don't have some other thing you want to go on to do in terms of working after you have retired in the US or any place, that's probably the only drawback. My own mother, for instance, recently remigrated, and I'm certain as night turns today, she's thinking about leaving again. Because, as you said, just trying to get the basic service that you would have grown accustomed to overseas, right? Whether it's customer service, whether it's engaging any other service in a very timely manner, it is very, 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 you got to get your mental health intact to deal with it. And that's what she's confronting. I'm certain she's thinking, what?
Well, that's very true because we're looking at so many dynamics. Our country is no better than we have been explaining it. It's just crazy, especially when it comes to the ease of doing business, because this specific plea and call are made to person so that they can come back home and invest in business back home. But then when they get on the ground and they realize the rigidness,
the ease of doing business in there,
and the corruption that entails in the process altogether, people realize it's not what they had expected it to be. And I have to take a pause and go to the comment section. I see none other than our colleague Kamal Passad in the comment section.
Kamal.
Hey Kamal. Kamal giving her congratulations. And I have to say, Kamal did contest those elections, and she did extremely well. She contested the NEC and did extremely well also. So congratulations on the votes received, Kamal Passad. You have been quite a phenomenal individual, and the party and the country altogether is excellent and will benefit a lot from you being a part of the system altogether.
Yep. And Kamal joined us on the program here last week.
Yes.
Just in case you needed a face. She was on the program with us, and this is our Region 7 Vice Chair of the Regional Democratic Council in Region 7, Kamal Passad. She served previously as the Deputy Mayor of that municipality there, of Bartica, and we're so privileged every time we have Kamal on the set. She brings her own spice to things here. So we love having her.
Sharad is Sharad BC Ganesh in the comment section. They're trying to direct the discussion this morning, so we're going to bite this bait a little bit.
Right
And
here.
he's asking specifically for us to speak about the fact of the Public Procurement Commission and the fact that it has not been put in places yet. And I hear Ganesh there loud and clear on that specific matter.
And we're going to talk about that some more too when we
Yes.
come to that other issue with that former REO, some
That is
issues
correct.
coming out of the PAC. That'd be a good time to discuss that. But let's begin, folks, with some of what happened. Well, not some of what happened overnight. The Queen of England, that is celebrating a milestone, and she became on Saturday the second longest serving monarch.
Well, I found it most
Right?
interesting because for some reason I thought the Queen was the longest serving monarch. So when I saw second longest, I was like, I need to go read this, right?
Yeah.
So it says here, right, that as of Monday, she has been on the throne for 70 years and 127 days. Second to Louis the 14th of France, who became king at the age of 4.
Yeah. Louis of France.
King at the age of 4.
Ganesh, if you watching, I see Ganesh saying he loves Kamal and all that.
Yes,
Ganesh,
I'm
hold
about
a
to say
focus.
that.
If you look at this, I love this green that the Queen is wearing. I don't know if that's a wink the Queen giving us or what, but that green there look very nice.
It looks more AFC green.
Look at AFC green. I thought so too.
say.
I thought so too. The PNC green is a darker green. This looks more like the AFC green, right? I know Ganesh gonna vex over this, but it is what it is. This is what it is. A wink is a wink, and we see you. We see you, boo. We see you, Your Majesty. So that's what's happening on that front, right? I know Ganesh vex, but
yeah, but I say congrats. I say we acknowledge this milestone for the monarchy there. But when I read that Louis became king at the age of 4, I said thank God for democracy.
4 years old.
Thank God for democracy. The process altogether of getting things in order. Ganesh, my Paul, I'm gonna fight you. So you can't Kamal and Ganesh in the comment section having your own conversation there.
Yeah.
As we go back to what is brewing, guys. What is brewing right now? We're going on the regional front. We're getting a little closer to home at this moment. I know, Shirley, we're specifically looking at what is going on in Jamaica.
Yep. And some of the issues happening there, for instance, we saw a Jamaican recently became, let me get my notation right. He recently became, I think this is Brian Wallace.
One of the 3 vice presidents of the 77th session.
Correct.
Yep.
Go right ahead, ladies.
The 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly, and this is quite phenomenal. I think.
Correct. And I don't know if it's just us here, but I love to see when Caribbean people are excelling, right? Especially in first world countries, right? And to have been elected rather. This was significant. We're happy to see Caribbean people being given a chance. We can lead you. We can lead you at the highest levels, and it's good to see Mr. Brian Wallace taking on this role, and we wish him well. And we say congrats to all our Jamaican brothers and sisters. Those of you who are watching us from Jamaica even now, congrats to you guys, and we hope that Brian Wallace serves well.
That is
serve well, Brian. Serve well.
Brian Wallace, congratulations to you. Congratulations to Jamaica. On this altogether, and we will be looking forward to see good work come out from there.
Yep, and while that is happening, also Jamaican-born Troy McKenzie has become the first Black dean of New York University of Law, right? And that's a very prestigious university in New York. Read some of the notation for us.
As the notation says, Jamaica-born Troy McKenzie has been selected as the new dean of the New York Law School, becoming the school's first Black dean and the first Jamaican to be appointed to the post. Very significant.
Correct.
McKenzie, who has been a professor of law at the school since 2007, officially took up the position on June 1st. He succeeded Trevor Morrison, who stepped down from the deanship on the 31st of May after 9 year. So
Yeah.
a lot for us to be thankful for
Yeah.
there. Is it an
A
announcement
lot. Yeah.
Mackenzie's appointment? If I could continue
Go
for
ahead.
this little piece, the NYU president Andrew Hamilton said Troy is widely admired for his good judgment, his humility, his respectful treatment of colleagues, his wide-ranging scholarly interest and support of colleagues, his readiness to mentor and support
Love
students,
that.
his
Love that.
dedication and work ethics, and his manifest love of the school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So big
Yes.
promotion there, and we say congrats again
Yes.
to Jamaicans. Your flag flying high, and the Caribbean got a lot of bright people. We can't know that. Guyana has contributed to that in its own way. A lot of bright people
That is
in this
correct.
region who are contributing to the upliftment of other places like the USA in both instances here. And that's part of the beauty of the melting pot that the US is. A lot of bright people. And, I don't think we often get the full value of that. If you go on the University of the West Indies bookstore, there's a website. They have the bookstores there. You can buy some of the books in e-format. You're just amazed at some of the topics covered by Caribbean people, the scholarship given there, and we got some tremendously bright people. Walter Rodney will always go down as one of our greats that we had, and we really hope that young people push themselves to the highest, what is the common phrase now? They say the highest, the best expression of themselves, something of that nature. Walter Rodney, Guyanese born, was 24 years old when he had his PhD. This not conform PhD like some people who I saw somebody write, should stop fighting people to address them as doctor. Never sitting a day in a classroom. People look at the work you do, body of work, and rightfully so if they want to. They confer you a doctorate, right? And, forcing people to address me as doctor. And people who study for this thing, like Walter Rodney did, 24 years old when he got his PhD, and the scholarship is there. And they say long after we leave, Drita, is the work we do that remains as testament. And we still read his books, Groundings and all of that, how Europe underdeveloped Africa and all of that. Seminal works that contribute to the Caribbean scholarship and, our intellectual prowess and all that. Still standing up. Eric Williams from Trinidad, Capitalism and Slavery, is still one of the most seminal works internationally and definitely regionally. Nothing has eclipsed that seminal work, Capitalism and Slavery there. On the local front too, you had that compilation. I haven't read anything that surpassed that. Themes in African Guyanese History. David Granger contributed to that. Alvin Thompson. What's the other guy's name? We got him right in the counter here. Dr. Winston McGowan.
Okay.
Brilliant people. Sister Mary Menez. Am I calling her name right?
Cheryl's looking to me
Right?
for these names.
Contributed tremendously, and that's only
That
in
is
academic
correct.
work. You got in as authors, novelists, and so on. Pauline Melville, Peter Degar or Diegar, Martin, you name it. Brilliant people produced by this nation. We just lost Mr. Lamming from Barbados. I think it is. Tremendous scholarship we've had. What's the other fella name? You got Or Lovelace from Trinidad, tremendous writer. Who else? We got a lot of people doing tremendous work.
Guyana did a
and
lot.
contributing.
Guyana, a lot
Yeah.
of Guyanese actually went through and made us very, very proud. A lot of them, and I think even at the level of the university, so we need to celebrate these persons
Yeah.
a whole lot more than it's being done right now. Because I know, like in the university, I believe at some point in time they had a specific section. I'm not sure if it's there right now, that had Guyanese authors and their books. And so you would have seen books like Edgar Meta Hall's written there, and all of those, very, very important for us.
CLR
to
James was the name I was looking for. CLR James out of Trinidad. You have also who got the Nobel Prize for Literature out of Trinidad. V.S. Naipaul, brilliant writers. V.S. Naipaul wrote books like House for Mr. Biswas, Half a Life. Tremendous scholarship. We got Mr. Dabadine locally and all that. we have produced and given that to the world, and it
A
is
lot
word
still
of
being used,
celebration.
especially from NIPA, being
Yeah,
used within secondary school
correct,
literature,
correct,
still until
correct.
today.
And I
So
and I and
yeah.
I and I and I hope that if not even in a better way, the kind of enabling environment and platform
Mhm.
that was created in the past that allow that talent to come to the fore, we have a tremendous opportunity of even deepening and broadening that. And that's why we must contribute to the creative arts in a meaningful way, and asking artists to pay $500,000 for the theater could hamper that. Some of
Mhm.
the best plays I saw at the National Culture Center, that iconic
Mhm.
institution there, you could hamper all of that.
Correct.
All of that kind of cultural work that is worthy of celebration too. We even gone into that aspect of it, and we produce people in that field. I see Ling Show is coming back. I think early, if not mid July. Well,
Mhm.
I am there, to decompress some of
But
this.
listen, we need to acknowledge that in order for the local art industry to actually deal with that price hike, the
Mhm.
ridiculous price hike, what I think important, everybody needs to just, this needs to be reversed. It
Mhm.
needs to be reversed with urgency. It can't go through like that. And the only way they can deal with it is if they're to push that price over to the actual person that's going to be attending.
But I saw that they have revisited it, and they have gone back to the original fees.
Oh, they have?
Yeah,
I missed
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
missed
Well,
that.
you were busy over the
Thank you.
weekend.
Thank you for that. Thank you
They've
for
gone.
that.
Yeah, I see somebody. Edward Broom says VRT Daily. Good local
Yes.
historians in this VRT Daily who wrote the people who came.
So the
Tremendous.
reverse came after some pressure again.
Yeah,
You see what the
yeah,
pressure does,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
Pressure,
good for us to
pressure.
have these conversations all together. But when you were talking about that, I immediately, I have to mention also that there's an overarching issue when it comes to pricing altogether. And I can say that I have to stick in at this point in time. The prices in the stores, and guys, I'm going to be asking you to do some work and help me with some of this work right now, because I want you to start sending to us the prices that you are paying for basic household items, wherever you are getting it from. Once you are living in Guyana, whichever region you are in, whichever community you're in, start sending in the price. Especially when you go to the store, you realize this particular item is this is out of control. Start sending it in to us. Start to put together this data, because it is crazy what is going on
Yeah.
out there right now
Yep.
in
Yep.
terms of in the inflation rates altogether.
Yep.
Fish, egg, everything, cooking oil, everything.
Yep. And as treaters on the local scene, one of the things we're following this morning
Oh,
is this case of Karen Felix. We were talking about it all week last week. It came to a high over the weekend, even people, wanting to know what happened to Karen. She left her friend's house in Rumville, Riverview, Rumville, in a taxi, and just disappeared. Her sister had said publicly that Karen is not one to stay away from her home ever. She's never been absent and didn't say where she was, or she didn't spend nights out and that kind of stuff. But Karen, according to Kaichur News, was found lying when she walked over the weekend. Well, I know she would be honest. She was found,
spotted.
she was spotted liming on the seawall, and I think they say when something.
Hanging out.
Uh-huh.
She was found hanging out.
But then something else happened. They said when.
Well,
Right
I
here.
want to read directly as a report
Talk to
for
us.
this particular one, because listen,
Yeah, it's not a real place.
I think my mother in particular is going to be very upset with all of this, because my mother was pulling her hair out with this man. She's like, this mother,
Yeah.
a mother of three,
Yeah.
missing. This thing have to be dealt with and all of that. So when I'm
Your
giving
mother
her
takes
this
takes you very seriously.
very seriously. So when this update was given, I had to send it to her. So I haven't gotten a chance.
Sorry to jump in. Kamal says that a loaf of bread in Bartok is $500.
That is what I want to see. Kamal, thank you so much for that
$500
update
a loaf
right
of bread.
now. That is what is
Wow.
going on throughout. I want more persons to give that. And
Wow.
I think Bartica in particular, when we purchase things in Bartica, we feel a price and the blunt of the inflation like no other. And the further up into the hinterland you go, the more expensive it gets to persons, because they have to add on the transportation costs and all of that, so that it gets, if it's something is selling for $500 in Georgetown, when it gets there, it's going to be $1,000 or more. is most ridiculous, and there is no adjustment when it comes to the pay scale as it pertains to your geographical location. A teacher that is being paid in Georgia is being paid the same thing that in most parts for those locations and all of that. So very, very interesting to see those things coming out.
Thanks for that, guys.
$500 for a loaf of bread. Who can afford that?
Yeah. And you know what? We're going to be talking about some of that in our podcast today. And as we discuss our theme for today, dollars and cents, we're going to talk about some of that, how the prices increase. But again, for Karen's, what's the young lady's name? Felix family, we're happy that, at least y'all know where.
No, but I want to get into a piece of this report. I have to.
Sorry.
Come on, I have to.
It's your job, Bob.
No, I have
right
to.
ahead.
I have to get into a piece of this. It says, speaking with Cultural News on Sunday, her sister Elizabeth Felix said that they located her during the morning hours on Saturday. Elizabeth related that after the media had reported that she was missing, they received a call from an anonymous woman. The individual reportedly told them that while heading to work, she had spotted the missing woman alone on the seawalls. And the sister said, we acted right away and we headed to the location and saw her sitting there. Elizabeth said, when she saw her, she ran away. The sister added, they pursued and caught up with her and managed to get her home. However, the sister said Felix has been acting strangely since she returned. She has not uttered a word to us since her return. She ain't telling us nothing, highlighted Elizabeth. Wow. This was the first time that Felix had disappeared without informing her family, and they were worried for her safety. So a lot of unanswered questions there. Yeah. At the time, someone just sitting on the seawall, it goes to, because a lot of assessment, I think that at this point in time, this is not for someone to be taken at home. This is a very serious case. And this is a mother with children. She was missing. She was located on the seawall by herself, just sitting there. Someone passed and saw her there. By the time and when the family got there, she was still sitting there. And then now she's at home, not saying anything. I think a complete evaluation needs to be given to the individual before persons could say they safely move on. But she doesn't seem at this time to have been harmed or any of that. So we're thankful for that, and we're thankful that she's back in the safety of her home with her family.
Yep. In other things happening locally, we see that Yog Mahadio is hitting this whole issue we spoke about last week right here of them taking back the land for the new GRA complex in Turkine and giving it to a private developer. And part of what Yog Mahadio is hitting out here at is why that, who this private developer is remains a mystery, remains much of a mystery. And he's saying that there's lack of transparency in this GRA land transaction. But that's what the folks are. That's what the current government does,
The abnormality would be if there is transparency. And that is that's the fact that is before us right now. But I'm happy to see that persons like Yog Mahadio is taking this line of speaking out on a lot of issues. Because if you could remember, I think it was Yog Mahadio was one of the persons were slated to collect this award for democracy. Something that was shelved in a corner because all the persons that were supposed to receive this award, the majority of them now are not singing from that sheet that they want them to sing for. So they squashed the whole idea of presenting this award for democracy, because now if Yog had a nice spin there, like democracy and fighter for democracy and all of those things, it would give his comments even more weight. But I have to say that everyone is quite clear as to what is going on, and it's good when persons like Mr. Mahadio steps forward and calls a spade a spade.
I think what they are afraid of is that people will eventually give back those awards.
So?
Saving themselves the trouble, people actually give back.
No, they're afraid of the awards it's being hit to them in the wrong way. Because you're going to award someone for they just fighter for democracy and all of that. And when they start hitting at you, what are you going to say? That is a champion of democracy.
Yeah, there's that. And Joyta, you would be more aware of this than I am, of former, what do you call it? The former chairman of Region 3? Am I getting it right? Mr. Hopkinson, Rupert Hopkinson. This came up before the PAC quite recently. And some allegations were made concerning his, he was the regional executive officer of Region 2. to be more specific. Regional Executive of Region 2, Mr. Rupert Hopkinson, and they said that he should have had knowledge of X, Y, and Z that was happening while he was the REO, and he has come forward and saying, I have no knowledge of what you're talking to us about. Do you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, I have to. I know. My colleague also, Ganesh Maipol, I see him in the comment section, so I know he is one that is acutely aware of this, and this is not just a Rupert Hopkinson situation. This is not the first time. What is happening? I want persons to understand the dynamics of what is going on. What is happening right now is that there are staff within the administration currently that is looking to cover and duck in many cases, and then this may not be for all of them, but I'm saying what I generally understand, and to basically try to push blame for responsibility that they failed to execute. And I know Ganesh feels very, very, very serious about this issue. And especially when it comes to the engineering department. And when we look at things like overpayment, and they were supposed to go as the engineer and sign off on a project being completed. Their signatures are fixed there, but their signatures are fixed up work that was not completed.
Yeah.
So when you question them about it, they're going, oh, well, somebody told me to do it. Oh, well, I didn't get to go and see this work. And so and my position is very clear. You signed on to do this job, and this is what you should do. This particular instance, I got upset with this particular story when it comes to Rupert Hopkinson, because of the fact that the individual that was making the claim was actually saying that he had proof that this man told him to go and do X, Y, Z. And when we asked for the documentation to be presented, it was nothing of the sort. Absolutely nothing of the sort. All right. He was basically in the letter that he was saying that the man actually, he was asking the man for a specific document, and the man didn't give it to him, so he couldn't go and do his work. But even the technical officer, as a finance secretary, and said that he had no business even going down that line for ask for that document that has nothing to do with his job. Right? So it's a lot. But what we have noticed is that persons are trying to divert the blame. Right? Shifting the responsibility. But it cannot be the case. And I want to make this very, very clear. And I've said it at countless times at the level of the PSC, because today's PSC, again, we have to have I have said it countless times at the level of the PSC that you cannot sign on that this is a job I'm doing and then come and say, oh, well, I didn't do it because somebody else told me to do wrong. Because what's going to happen? There. It is not absolutely nonsense. That's incriminating.
Yeah, and the opposite is happening now, because former REO Rupert Hopkinson, he's saying that he has evidence that he did not, do what he's being accused of doing here. That is correct.
But I haven't specifically looked at that, because we're headed into PAC, and I want us to be officially presented with certain documentation before I go into that. But as it is being reported in the news right now, and I can say that I expected nothing different, because of the lack thereof in any form of proof of the allegations that was coming against Mr. Hopkinson. You can't just come in and loosely make accusations of such magnitude about someone and then say you don't have any proof. That is absolute nonsense. It should not be tolerated, and people must not think that they can just come before the PAC and just make loose allegations like that.
Very well. The other issue we're looking at this morning is this Mexican company who is slated to build low-income houses in Guyana using recycled material. I'm pretty interested to see how this go here. If it's good for the environment, it could redound to our benefit. But again, to see what kind of concessions they are going to get and how they're going to be entering into the market as against our own local folks here. But interesting to see how recycled materials could contribute to low-cost housing and the kind of durability and so on that would be afforded there in using this kind of material and designs and so forth. But of course, this is the way the world is going: recycling, upcycling, and all of that, green environment and so forth. So pretty interesting initiative on the face of it. Pretty interesting initiative. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting on the face of it, but more specifically, I think we have to do a lot. I think we have to just look at it very acutely as it pertains to what materials they will be using and all of that. But I look forward to seeing where this goes altogether, the amount of houses that they will actually be building, and who are going to be the beneficiaries of those, because that's always my concern. Who will be the beneficiaries of that? So I have two concerns on this particular matter. It's transparency when it comes to the beneficiaries of these buildings that is reported to be in the plan to be set up, and also if there are not persons here that are companies here that are competent enough to actually do this, is against bringing in a foreign company to take on the work. So that's my major concern, because I don't think, I know when it comes to capacity and all of that, Guyana has some challenges, but I believe you have to be strengthening our local businesses
Correct.
at this point in time. We're not even there where we will be. We're not even there. We're now getting to that point, and we cannot just evade and not strengthen. We have to strengthen local businesses in order for them to be able to take on that type of work altogether. So that's a concern that I have on that front.
And while that is happening, Trinity is especially concerned on that front. Other things making the news. The big issue for this morning is the PPP oligarchy. What is being touted as the PPP oligarchy locally, and in particular, this issue of Tamish Jagmohan has been making the rounds. And there's lots of accusations out there concerning businessman Tamish Jagmohan. I saw there was a documentary in circulation, got a lot of views, and whether the businessman likes it or not, there are lots of there seems to be a prevailing thought out there of the kind of businessman, let me put it that way, that Tamish Jagmohan really is. And that, I think, is in the public view right now, and some issues concerning him. And we see people saying that, this is all part and parcel. The PP come back, their oligarchy is here, they've risen their heads once more, and the accusation out there in the public domain and is that Tamish Jagmohan is part of this PPP oligarchy. And people didn't like it too much. It's still an asterisk there on the U.S. ambassador and other diplomats being ferried around on election day by businessman Tamish Jagmohan. And this is just some of the issues that are out there percolating, that are brewing, believe it or not.
But I have to say that when it comes to oligarchy, the first thing we need to understand, we're talking about oligarchy, we're talking about the whole definition of what an oligarchy is. It's just a small group of people that is in control of a country, and then the argument could be strongly put forward and supported by evidence that is the way in which persons see our country being operated right now, with this little cabal at the top doing what it is that they want to do. And you could say that there's a startling resemblance to an oligarchy altogether.
And a startling resemblance also to what pertains in Russia. You got this puppet kind of thing that happened with Medvedev and Putin, and Russia has an oligarchic system in and of itself. And then, we seem to be mirroring that so much here, where you can see what is transpiring.
That is correct, but I'm noting what is being asked for, particularly with the issue and the video that was circulated with regards to Mr. Tamish Jagmohan, and I can see him. I can see why he would actually ask the police to probe the Facebook video, because there's a lot of damning allegations that is being made in the video, and anyone that has to face those allegations would want to know basically where it came from. And I could say for myself, when I saw it, I said, well, there's a lot of work that was put into this piece of video, because it seems like a lot of investigative journalism from where I am. So I can understand why he wants that to be probed altogether. But more so, I think that when you are conducting business in a country and all of that, and especially at the magnitude of Mr. Jagmohan, I think it's absolutely necessary for him to clear up those
Yep.
allegations with the
Yep.
people of this country, because that's just from my take.
Yep.
You can't just leave it to slide altogether. I think that it should be cleared up from his part,
Yep.
and not just say, well, let the police investigate who put it out there, but more so to say, well, these are the facts to combat what is being said against his name. So that's how I see that, and that's how I would have wanted to present myself had I been in his shoes.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that is precisely what is being said.
Yeah.
And again, part of what is being discussed in the public domain that brought us to where we are is that circulating mini documentary outlining some of the what they purport and alleged to be strong handing,
Yeah.
strong arming rice farmers,
Yeah.
his business interests. Part of what he's asking Robeson Ben for, the installed Minister of Home Affairs, is investigate his business interests, and this Facebook video and all that, so that his business interests can be given a clean bill of health, that they're all in the up and the up and up. And quite recently, we saw Mr. Jack Mahan giving in a formal way, because they tell us that this was operating informally prior, permission to use his airstrip at Hampton Court for free. This is the Ghana Defense Force permission. And all of these things going to be looked at. The GDF is funded by taxpayers, and taxpayers have a right to interrogate these dealings.
That is correct.
Right? They have a right to interrogate these dealings. And I'm quite surprised that many years later, the Defense Force, to save itself any accusations, won't be seeking to have its own facilities, really and truly, to have its own facilities. So we saw this very recently, this signing of a formal agreement for the Ghana Defense Force to use Hampton Court airstrip. And then in addition to that, it's quite interesting, Mr. Robeson Ben being asked to investigate what's happening, because the police force was quite the recipient of quite a few police vehicles, again, from Tamish Jack Mahan's company. And so all of this is up in the public domain. People see this sudden emergence of businessmen and this kind of activity, and it's raising a lot of eyebrows, folks. This is in the public domain, raising a lot of eyebrows as to what's really happening in this country.
Well, I think, listen, there's no sugarcoating to the way in which the PPP transact business, and that is the issue at hand. And nobody could fault anyone for asking questions and wanting to interrogate processes that they are seeing and reports that are being made. Everyone, we're in a country, this is supposed to be a democracy, and everyone has the right to know, especially when it comes to the public sector altogether. Public servants there at the level of the GDF, at the level of the police force, and all of the persons there. Guyanese as a whole has a right to ask questions, and they have a right to know. So this is not something that you can just hush. I think we have come over the years, if I can put it over like this, over the years prior to 2015, Guyanese had come to a point that they just see things and they had learned to not say anything about it, just let it go, because this is a system. This is how these people operate. We can't speak out against it, or they're going to come after us, they're going to attack us and all of that. But then it so happens that from 2015 to 2020, Guyanese had the awakening that they so desperately needed. And persons were allowed the freedom, and not only the freedom, they were given so many platforms at which that they can have their voices heard and all of that. So information being spread in information age there. Everyone was empowered and felt empowered to question things, and they did rigorously question every single thing. So now that the PP is back in office and they intend to do things that they were doing prior to 2015, they find it strange and they don't know how to deal with it when people ask questions. But I have to say to all business people, this is one instance we're looking at with Mr. Jag Mahan and his business, but I think for all business people, once you are conducting business in the country, especially to these magnitudes, you are therefore expose the persons to ask questions.
Correct.
And especially when your business is being linked with that of and you are doing things and you are giving donations to the government and all of these things, it will be questioned. And this is just a new reality on the ground, and everybody has to get used to it because it's not going to change. It's going to get more critical. Persons are going to be even more interrogating. And when we sit in these seats, it comes to us the same way. So everyone has a right to question. And I think the best thing to do for anybody in these situations is to provide evidence to counter whatever's been said.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's
all right.
That's one good way to go. And perhaps that's why we saw, for instance, a columnist, GHK Lal, in this morning's, I think, Starbuck News.
Yeah.
Again, talking about this. It's very topical currently, and the header of this letter to the editor by writer and thought leader, influencer GHK Lal. The header was, Mr. Jack Mohan needs reputable foreign law enforcement agency for the task that he's asking them to perform, to give this clean bill of health to his business. Because, I mean, Lal wasn't mincing words when he said, I would recommend for what it is worth to Mr. Jack Mohan that he employs any relationship he may have with the leaders of this government to use their good offices to engage Her Excellency, the American ambassador, to call in those reputable foreign law enforcement agencies to give the clean bill of health that he covets. Mr. Lal goes on in his letter to the editor to say that he gets that and he is golden, because that is what he wants. He wants credibility publicly as a businessman. All businessmen want that.
Correct.
He gets that and he is golden. He shuts everybody up. I think a man of his stature, of his weighty contributions, I think a man of this stature, of this weighty contributor for decades to the national economy, is due such a favor from this government. And I tend to agree with Mr. Lal here. Calling independent people.
I agree totally.
Calling independent people, get a clean bill of health from your dealings, because it is said that Mr. Jack Mohan is also had his visa revoked from the U.S. Embassy and all of that. So he seems to be under the radar in a lot of areas. And also, it was formidable journalist Gordon Mosley, who had an interview with the U.S. Ambassador Sarah Lynch, I think just out of the 2020 general regional elections, who had put a question to her, is Mr. Jack Mohan on investigation by the U.S. authorities? You were seen on election day flying around the country with him.
Yeah.
And her only response was that she don't comment on issues that are on investigation or who on investigation by the U.S. authorities. But it is widely believed that he had his visa revoked and cannot travel to the U.S. because he's under their radar. So again, I agree with what Mr. Lal is saying here, that if he really wants to, his businesses to have that reputable stamp and credibility stamp, then go ahead and invite independent law enforcement agencies to scrutinize the very way you're asking Ben to scrutinize.
And that is correct. That is a good way to go, because he's no simple businessman. He has done a lot of work locally, and the business has grown tremendously, and he is one of those persons. So I think that he owes it to himself.
And a lot of good work.
Those things are
From the report that we have. He's done lots of good work, and but the business seemed to be, and himself seemed to be dogged by all of these rumors and so on that's out there.
I'm trying not to say it, but I have to say it at this point in time, usually when you see those things, it's not coming from nowhere, and it's not coming without an agenda also. So I think that the best thing for him to do is to say, well, these are the facts that puts those allegations to rest.
Yep.
All right.
And again, let me pull up what Lal said. Lal says, if you do that, calling these independent law enforcement agencies to scrutinize your work, that is golden. Lal says he gets that, and he is golden. He shuts up everybody.
And nobody else.
I think a man of the stature of this weighty contributor for decades to the national economy is due such a favor from this government. What he has to lose. Business up and up. Go right ahead.
Yep, that is so true. I have to agree with that. I have to agree with that. But a lot is being said there. We're going to be following this story very carefully as it unfolds, because as reports are saying that he has asked the police to probe the video to see what is going on there, and a lot has been going on social media when it comes to person's credibility being attacked and businesses being attacked and all of that. So, very interesting for us to wait and see where this goes altogether.
Yep. And
And the truth
that
shall
letter we
come
just
out.
quoted from, the letter we just quoted from, is in today's Starbuck News. It's in
Yeah.
today's Starbuck News. And again, this has been it's a very topical issue since that mini documentary came out
Yeah.
with all of those allegations in it.
Mhm.
And he has come out now asking the Ghana Police Force to investigate,
Yeah.
to give himself a clean bill of health. But people are very concerned with the close proximity to Tammy Jagmahan to the PPP and to the government by
Yeah.
extension. And again, his operation is being described as an oligarchy. There are a lot of concern locally that is only one set of people making
Yeah.
money in this country. Is a small group of people. That was put out to what was conveyed in the Starbuck News article quite recently. Businessmen are challenging that, for instance, Impressions are
Yes.
getting a host of the kind of contracts that the services that Impressions provide to the detriment of others. Those things don't go to public tender and all of that in
We
the
talk
usual
about it
way,
all the time.
unfair competition and all of that. And then you have this whole issue now of the Public Procurement Commission officers being appointed but not sworn as yet, and so the Public Commission is not operating,
Yep.
right? So there's that other side of it too.
That is correct. And I'm seeing when it, as it pertains to the Public Procurement Commission, and it goes hand in hand with what Sheridan is saying. I know that none other than Ganesh Maipal. I'm going to read directly from the post that he made yesterday. It says on the 13th of April 2022, the National Assembly unanimously approved 5 names to become commissioners on the Public Procurement Commission. The names are, and he gave the attorney at law Pauline Chase, economist Joel Bagwandin. It had Raj Narayan Singh, Berkeley Wickham, and Diana Rajkumar. So the PPP is responsible for the Public Procurement Commission. The PPC is responsible for monitoring and reviewing the functions of all the public procurement systems to ensure that they are in accordance with law, such as policy guidelines, as may be determined by the National Assembly. Contractors and suppliers have been complaining bitterly of being sidelined and about how unfair they are being treated by MPTAP, ministerial tender boards, and regional tender boards. The Public Procurement Commission is a body established under the Constitution to address these concerns. It said today marks 73. Now it was yesterday, so today it would be 74 days since unanimous approval of the National Assembly, but the president is yet to swear in the commissioners. What is causing this delay, the nation must know. And that is as posted by Mr. Maipal there. I know that he did ask us to touch on this a bit this morning, so we are, and most concerning that the National Assembly would have a unanimous approval of these persons, and you would know the rigorousness we went through in even getting to those 5 names altogether, and the process at the level of the Public Accounts Committee that was responsible for actually doing that aspect of it. There is no excuse except for persons have an underlying agenda and they want XYZ contracts to go through before the commission is functioning. That is the only explanation. And if it's not so, then appoint the people.
Yep. That's happening out there, folks. That's some of what is happening out there. And that's our time for today.
That is our time.
That's our time. That's our time, guys.
Yep.
Great to have been here with you and Kearns and Ferdinand, all you beautiful folks who make our mornings. You make our mornings. You make me day as well. Henry Rodney, the other Henry Rodney. I think this is Henry Rodney from the East Coast. And
he's asking a question. Henry's asking a question. He says, good morning, Sherry. Could you say when the report of the vice reporter interview with Jagdio will be aired or published?
That is your Father's Day gift on Sunday. On Sunday the 19th.
Father's Day, yes.
Right? Sunday, 8 p.m. It's on Showtime. It's being shown on Showtime. Yeah. And I'm certain them boys going to have it in circulation locally. But it's on Showtime, Sunday the 19th, Father's Day, 8 p.m. in the evening.
I can see some watch parties being had.
Yep. That's what's happening. I'm looking forward to it too.
We should do a watch party.
I'm
with
looking
this,
forward to it too. I'm looking forward to it too. Good to be here with you guys. Really great to be here with you guys. And good to see, as we said, there's Emmanuel and Dan
And
Grisani,
Yolanda.
Lynette Fraser here with us as well. And, all the other guys, Glenford Gordon and Amrin Dean, Joel Wild and Shirley Crichton. Good to be here with you folks. You got to share, and smash that emoji button for us folks.
And it was a pleasure to have you here with us this morning. Be sure to join us this midday at 12 for Below the Belt, and then again this evening at 8 p.m. for In the Ring. But guys, we always say to make sure, in addition to sharing and liking and adding your comments all together, we ask that you also partner with us. And we are always saying that it goes so much, it does so much, it goes such a long way altogether to make sure that we can come to you every single day as we are doing right now. So make sure that you utilize our platforms. You have Western Union, you have MoneyGram, you have Zelle, you have PayPal, you have PayPal,
Cash
you have
App, you got
MNG, you have Cash App. Make sure that you
all
do
for
your
convenience.
very much so. And if you need any guidelines on how to do that, just be sure to message on 627-6963. We'll be able to get right back at you and give you guidance on how to partner with us.
I've become an
expert. I know, right?
Have a fantastic day, folks. Go out there and be great. Go out there and be great.
Day, guys.
Yep, that's our time.